Well, hi folks, if you live in Surrey, then I'm sure that Newlands Corner has been one of those routes that everybody talks about. Here is an example of what it is we're doing, and it's pretty much the reverse of one we did earlier on, but with Newlands Corner added into the route. So let's follow. We're going to leave Knaphill. We pick up the canal in St John's and then we head round the back past Hungry Hill. We always go up that way, and Send Prison is going to be on the way. Go towards Sheer and then we cut round and then we hit Newlands Corner. And then we work our way back through Send and Old Woking, and then we hit the Basingstoke canal reasonably early, but we stay on it until a bit later. So we go around the big curve and then head our way back. So it's a really nice trip. So here we are, just leaving the Garibaldi and heading off up Knaphill High Street. Get to the top of Anchor Hill and we're going to turn right here down Victoria, or Lower Guildford, and then Victoria Road. Watch out for the speed bumps that we've got in the middle of the road. And now cross over down Barrack Path. There's Winston Churchill School on our right, now onto Barrack Path proper, and then over the cycle crossing of the bypass, and then back into the high street, and then immediately we turn onto the canal. And the road surface here on the canal, that gravelled surface is now worn down to the point where it's just the hard stuff underneath, so it's really nice to ride on. Fewer punctures than you used to get. So we're heading through the back of St John's into Woking. There's one of the schools there coming up. And there we are into Woking. There's the Twin Towers of Woking, past the canal boats that are there. And now we follow up. Now this bridge is not easy on a tandem, but we can just about do it. It's a bit harder going back up. And now we've crossed over the canal, we're on the other side, and we're working our way out towards Sheerwater. It's a really peaceful bit of canal. Definitely recommend it really as a route, although it's quite industrial on one side. It just seems to have tremendous peace about it. But we're joining up and we're now going in through the back end of Woking, through the sort of Maybury part and up towards the mosque, and then turning left up College Road. Watch out, the traffic parking there is pretty horrendous, and we keep going on this road right up to the end. So we did a little circle round there because we just wanted to check something out, and had a little chat, and then we were back onto the road. So we just turned left off that first road, and then we're going to go right off up the Pyrford Road towards, well, really towards Wisley Gardens. It's the same route that you would take, but these days we go to Wisley via the River Wey. So we head down this long straight road, gradual rise in most of the bit of journey that we're doing. So you can see from the canal we start to sort of, we're going along the bottom over the river, but so there we are crossing the A3, and not much further on we'll get to the edge of the river. Here we go. So we cross the river at the lights, and that's the edge of the lowland. So we're following along. That's the bit that you can see as a flat on the altitude chart on the side. And we follow this route along, pretty level, overtaken by this elderly gentleman who did really well, better than us. So we're still on the floodplain there. And then we're getting into this part of Ripley, which was the old A3, and then we turn off immediately. And you'll see that this coincides with the track that we did before, but we've been travelling in the opposite direction. So we head off and we cross the A3 again, I think that's the A3, might be the M25. And from this point on, the roads are generally fairly peaceful. So although they're quite big and fast in some ways, they don't have a huge amount of traffic on them. Weather was reasonable, although it was quite cold on this day. So we're in the middle of March, and you can see the oak trees still haven't got their leaves on, but the daffodils are out. So we're following this road all the way along. You'll see we haven't made many turnings at all. Very peaceful. We're going to get towards a lake at some point, but just follow the road all the way through. Right, so that's Send Prison on the left over there, if you want to orientate where we've got to. So we carry on past Send Prison and the nursery that's with it, and it's extremely rural, and the road is much quieter here. However, it is a bit of a rat run in the mornings when everybody's commuting to London. So we go underneath the low tunnel and then just keep going, and there will be a gradual rising from now on, and you can see elements of that, but it's not hard. So a tight corner into Clarendon. Very, very expensive, beautiful houses down here. We enjoy looking at the houses and property and dreaming of what life could be like if we were to buy some of these, knowing full well that they're well outside of our league. So we turn right here, go through the pretty part of the village of Clarendon, and we now head round, and this is where we cross the A25, and now it's almost completely silent as we head up the first part of the North Downs, and this is the first of two rises that we've got to go up. Now it's not hard, and we weren't even in our lowest gear at the front, but we were able to get on here. But it does go on a long way. This is why it was part of the route that they use in the Olympics and the Tour of Britain. Past the old hedges. That's what happens to a hedge when you flail it all the time. They need to be relaid. Ash tree there, looking a bit stronger. And we're working way up. You think you've reached the top of the peak, top of the hill, but you haven't. It's a long way round. And then we suddenly drop with this 10% drop that we've got. So we keep going. There's a little bit of a descent here, and then we carry on back up. But again, not much traffic that you can see. On the left, the woodland on the left is absolutely full of bluebells that haven't quite come into flower, but really pretty. I would definitely recommend coming here during bluebell season, which is usually the last week or so of April. So we're going to go right here, and this is the top of the 10%. Now do be very careful. It is brutally fast on the descent. We have disc brakes, and that was a tremendous help, but you know, we were hitting 36, 37, and then you've got this main road at the end which we take, and this is the road that's going to take us all the way to Box Hill. It is a busy road, so we follow along, and it's single carriageway, and particularly when we start going up the hill, there's not really enough room for anybody to pass. So that's not a cycle path on the left. Now there is a footpath there, and it is actually tarmacked, so you could take that route, but it just falls apart at one point. You get further up here and it just disappears. You can see it's just disappeared off into the woodland, and that's the end of it. So you'd have to be on the road at this point. And this is a long, quite slow descent. At times we're only doing 5 or 6 miles an hour, but we're heading up, and it's not that long before we get to Newlands Corner. So I've put the map of where we are there, and we're sort of heading up the hill and we're not far now, but there are a couple little turns, and then in a second we're just going to dive off to the left. So there we go, we dive off to the left, and then it's a little bit of level. There's toilets here, there are all sorts of things, cafes, and it's a great place to go. It's a meeting place for motorcycles and veteran cars. So the classic cars are all here. Good ride?
Yeah.
Good ride?
Yeah. Lovely ride.
Quite steep.
Bit steep, yeah. Nice going down.
Yeah.
A25 was a bit...
Yeah, wouldn't recommend it for the A25, but it's really pretty around here.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of a look around, get a feel for it, use the loos, and then we're back out onto the road. Turn left, and we're now on the descent. So we're working our way down. This is really fast. It is a bit dangerous, so we did actually stop at one point to let a huge lorry go past. It was massive. Didn't want to get sucked underneath it. And then we're able to continue on. Now a lot of this road is dual carriageway, but we do have to cross here and do a bit of a dog leg as we head towards the village of Send. So there's Clandon Church on the edge of Clandon National Trust, so you could stop there. And we're heading towards Send. The road's not too busy, and further on we're going to find that there's actually a cycle path on the side. But it was late afternoon, so we're looking at about 4:30 at the moment. So we're crossing over the A3 at that point, and now we come into the big roundabout on the outside of Send, and we're now on the cycle paths. It's not ideal. There's people walking on it, and there's cars that pull in front. You know, you're always crossing drives when you're on these sorts of cycle paths, but they are safer. But then you have to cross back onto the other side of the road, and then it comes to a halt, and there was a dirty great roadworks going on at this point, so we had to join the roadworks, but we were able to get to the front quite easily. Nobody had a problem with it. And then we carry on through the main part of Send towards Old Woking. So we've got a nice bit of rural coming up in a little while. So we leave the village behind, and now we're on back onto that floodplain. It's the floodplain for the River Wey, and it goes all the way into Old Woking. Here we go. So we've got Unwin's the printers, which used to be anyway, on the left, Hipley Street on the right. Getting to the roundabout down by the New Life Church, and we're going to turn right here, follow through towards Kingfield. Just be careful, because this is the road that the sixth form college is on, and we've got the football ground near here, crossing over the river, Woking football ground, and then back up towards Star Hill. So there's the edge of the 320. So here we go. We just had to wait for a bit of traffic at this point, and then we're heading up Star Hill, past the end of York Road and over the railway, turn right at the roundabout towards Triggs Lane, under the railway bridge, and then we're just going to go straight over the roundabout that's at the end here, so that we can rejoin the canal. It's not easy to turn left onto the canal at this point, so it's quite tough. We had to get off the bike in order to turn it round, but then we drop back down, and we now rejoin the canal at this point. And it's pretty straightforward. Schools were just breaking out, so there were a lot of kids. Winston Churchill School's not very far away from here, so a lot of kids walked their way home into Woking, back along the canal path. We went over that bridge there at that point, so there were a lot of people in the middle of the road. We're getting into St John's here. We crossed over and we stayed on the canal on the way back. We prefer that. Follow our way along. Very quiet down this section here, a few people feeding ducks or fishing underneath the various different railway and pedestrian bridges that we've got. And we're now heading back towards the edge of Brookwood. and Hermitage. And we're going to come up, take the bit of Hermitage Road here, go straight across at the roundabout onto Lower Guildford Road, past the Lansbury Estate, and into the village down by the Garibaldi, the Anchor Pub. So here's the Anchor Pub. We turn back onto the High Street, don't follow the Broadway on the left here, keep going, and the Garibaldi Pub where we started is literally just in front of us on the left there. So I'd like to thank you for joining us on that route. Please like and subscribe to this channel, it really helps. And here's the summary. See on the right hand side there, export to GPS device. You can pick up a GPX file and then you can use that to follow the route, or if you've got Komoot then you can use this as a basis and make any alterations you like. Thank you for joining us. It's been great to share these journeys, and we're going to do a few. We've got about 6 or 7 routes around Surrey, and then we're off to Exmoor and we're going to explore the Tarka Trail. So that's coming up. Keep your eyes peeled, and thank you for joining us. If you've got any questions, do put some questions or any notes down below, and we thank you and look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye.